It was a shock for first. From the right side, small kid crossed the road right in front of my bike, is fractured and it needed to be operated. So I couldn't run yet, of course I couldn't swim. The injury is not stopping me from that. I'm Frederic Funk, professional triathlete from Germany. A few weeks ago, I unfortunately had a bad bike crash and I fractured my elbow. And yeah, since then I'm struggling a bit with the way back to 100% and the road to recovery. So I was riding on my gravel bike. It was actually the end of my off season, so just like a chill autumn gravel ride in good weather. And I was going on a downhill, and suddenly, from the right side, a small kid crossed the road right in front of my bike. I unfortunately crashed into the kid. Had no time to react. Luckily, the kid was okay, but me unfortunately flew over the bike. And when I was lying there, of course, it was a shock for first. And when I tried to stand up and try to lift myself with my arms, I felt that something wasn't right with my right arm. And then we went to the hospital, got an X-ray, and turned out that my elbow or the olecranon is fractured and it needed to be operated. So yeah, the fracture was at the end of the off season. I didn't really have any important races or anything planned anymore for the year. So the timing could have been worse, of course, in the season with all the races. But yeah, in my head, I was already really motivated for 2026 and couldn't wait to start my preparation to get back into training. But yeah, then unfortunately that had to wait, of course. After the surgery, I first needed some complete rest. But once you accept the situation and try to just focus on what you can do, and the focus switches from trying to get as good as possible and prepare for the races, just to trying to get back to 100%, get the arm back to 100%. And of course, as a professional athlete, it's not always easy, but I think once you find the positive in it and just focus on what you can do, then I think even the healing might be a bit quicker, and it's also easier for the mind. And there's nothing you can do anymore. So yeah, after I think 7 days after the surgery, I actually started training again. Of course, I was not allowed to do too much because it would also impact the healing. So I had to start really carefully, and of course also taking no risks. So I couldn't run yet. Of course, I couldn't swim. So there was not a lot of options, and basically the only option in the beginning was to go for some walks or to go on the indoor bike. And even on the indoor bike in the beginning, I couldn't proper hold my handlebar. So I had my arm in like a sleeve around my neck, and was just riding with one arm, which got a bit uncomfortable for a longer while. But I could ride like this up to 1.5 hours maybe, always switching with one arm and no arms. But yeah, in the end of the day, it was the only thing I could really call training, but it was also the thing I was looking forward to the most every day, because in the end of the day, it's my job, and then training I need for the mind, need to stay relaxed as well. Yeah, I started to find joy in that, and also a week later, I was already able to just put my arm on the handlebar a little bit, not put the weight on it, but it got a bit more comfortable. Then I could ride a bit more longer. After 3 weeks, I think I could slowly start running again. Also very easy and just slow, increase of the mileage. Then after 4 weeks, I was even back in the water, but only swimming kick and only with the left arm. Now I'm kind of back to a full training routine after 6 weeks. Which includes the swimming with kick in one arm, running almost back to 100% as well, and on a bike, which I could start the earliest, I'm already back to like over 12 hours of cycling per week, all indoor, because of course I can't take any risks yet riding outdoors, and even already doing my first few interval sessions on the bike. It was like actually quite nice when I got back into training. I could go back on indoor trainer and ride Rouvy. I found like a lot of motivation in like the Rouvy challenges, you know, like just riding the different routes, collecting the levels, collecting the coins, and like buying new virtual gear and all that. That was quite fun, and I really enjoyed it. Yeah, it was also like quite nice because in the last time there were like some challenges in like Sri Lanka, and now I think there's one in Tajikistan. So like places, you know, I've never been to, and I like can't imagine how it is there. And I think Rouvy is like, it's like super nice to just like explore the world. And yeah, I think that's what I really enjoyed. And like, you know, I can't ride outdoors right now, but I'm like taking the outdoors, of course, into my home. Yeah, it's perfect like that. And I was the last 2 weeks I was riding like 12 hours per week on Rouvy. Also did my first few VO2 max sessions. So that would be like, for example, 3 times, 10 times, 30 seconds hard, 30 seconds easy. So like a typical VO2 max session. Yeah, it's just really easy with Rouvy as well, because I can just like, my coach has created the workout on Training Peaks, and I can connect it with Rouvy, and it's just like it's there, and I don't even have to think. It's like automatically going onto my home trainer, and yeah, I could just focus on the routes. As a triathlete, like training so much, like sometimes 3 sessions a day, I think it's quite tough to find a balance between like training and all the load and recovery, which is of course equally important. You know, you don't get better with training, you actually get better while you rest, because then the body is like adapting to all the training you did. And of course, it's also like connected with my injury now, like for my mindset. You know, you always have this saying like come back stronger, and of course it helps as well. Like I trained a lot now the last year. I was on races all over the world, and maybe it was a lot for my body, and maybe this is now like a forced rest which my body needs, or at least something which yeah, it's good for my body in the end of the day, and I might come back stronger from it. And yeah, I think that's if like I think the best professional triathletes, they know that, and they like appreciate resting just as much as training. So yeah, of course, even as a professional athlete, I have to admit it's not always like positive, and just like, you know, how you see it on social media, there's also like some negative moments, and you're not sure if you will ever come back, or you will ever be strong again after this big injury. But of course, I think it's important to just like yeah, try to focus on what you can do, like try to focus and really just get 100% again, and maybe use this mantra like come back stronger, you know. And maybe there's something with it, and maybe like I think actually most athletes are coming back stronger from an injury. Probably it's because you have more time to focus on things you wouldn't focus on if you were just like training normal. Like now with my injury, of course, we are trying to focus on getting my arm 100% again. But on the other hand, we are also trying to focus on some other weaknesses, trying to get stronger there, work more on like technical stuff, work more in the gym, get a better base for when I can like just train 100% again. Yeah, I think my plans for the next season and my goals are like high as always. My goal was or is to qualify for the Ironman World Championship in Kona, Hawaii. And yeah, the injury is not stopping me from that. I think there's still plenty of time to really get back 100%, get back into training, and yeah, fulfill that goal for next season. How I will do it will of course depend on how fast I can get back, but yeah, in the end of the day, the goal stays the same, just maybe the path might be a bit different. So yeah, if you're also coming back from an injury, currently riding only indoors or only riding indoors because of the cold weather outside and the winter in Europe, let's meet on Rouvy and ride together. See you there.